Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I'm your host, Wayne Johnson. I just want to welcome you to Urban One 2018 Talk Show. And I have a special guest here with me, Mr. Harold Dailey, known as Boo Boo Dailey here in the great city of Atmore. And so we're just so glad to have him with us this morning. And we just want to take this interview. This is going to be a time where we're going to talk about, we've got some questions. We're going to ask him some thought provoking ideas of his opinion about Atmore, his childhood, what make him the man that he is today, and the knowledge that he had and inspire some kids in our community. And I'm telling you, he has been a treasure to Atmore, and so we just so excited to have him here. But we'll be right back, and we'll start an interview after this commercial.
Welcome everyone to the Urban One 2018 show. I'm your host, Wayne Johnson, and I'm thrilled to have you here with me today. As we embark on this exciting journey together, I want to let you know that this show is all about you, the topics, the questions, and the ideas that matter most to you. So whether you're a curious mind looking to learn something new, a seasoned professional seeking a fresh perspective, or just someone who loves good conversation, you're in the right place. Each episode of the Urban One 2018 show is designed to bring you a mix of thought-provoking interviews with some of the brightest minds in the industry. We'll explore the issues that are shaping our world today and uncover the trends that will shape our future. So sit back, relax, and let's dive right in. The Urban One 2018 show is here to guide you through the complexities of modern life and help you make sense of the world around you. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
Wow, welcome back, Urban One 2018. I'm your host, Wayne Johnson, Urban One 2018 Talk Show, and our special guest today, Mr. Harold Dailey. Mr. Dailey, would you introduce yourself to our audience, please?
I am Harold Dailey, and I would especially like to thank Bishop Wayne for inviting me to get my perspective on some subject matter. And it's just a pleasure today to even be thought about in that context.
Wow, man. It was just honor because I've been trying to get him. I reached out to him a couple of times and we wasn't able to get it. But here it is, man. We got the interview. And so we got some questions, the things we want to talk about today. I think we got 5 things we want to talk about. The first one is we'll go over the items we're going to talk about, the questions, then we'll come back and get started and let him, we'll turn him loose with this interview today. And we're going to ask him, where was he born? Then life after high school, and furthering his education, talking about that part. And how did he wind up in Escambia County, since you retired in 1999? We'll talk about that. And what is your overall perception of the methods needed to positively influence our young people? Man, that's going to be a key. So I'm going to circle that one, and he's going to talk about that. And then this fifth one, do you believe that each individual life is guided by a higher power greater than man, And what are your thoughts about politics? And what are his thoughts about Atmore in 2024? So our first question, tell us a little bit where you were born in your upbringing.
I was born right here in Atmore, grew up here, and did all the basic things that could push us a little bit forward at that time. Our resources were limited, and you just had to take advantage of what was provided for you.
Wow.
And I lived in the rural area, right? It's called Sunset Drive area right now, which you later became. And by the way, your mother was my classmate.
Oh, come on, boy.
She was.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Small world, man.
Yes,
come
we
on.
all had nicknames. That nickname was Candy.
That's right. That's exactly right, Candy.
Yes. And Atmore was, it provided me a stable way of life. Yeah. It was hard, but it was fair.
Oh, right. Well, that's great.
And the reason why I say it was fair, because you had to take whatever was provided to you, and make whatever you wanted it to be.
Wow.
Come
on. So that means that, we were brought up with some values and things, but like you say, whatever you would do, you had to, implement.
You had to play the hand you would deal.
And so that was good, man. Wow. And so talk about life after high school as you furthered your education. Coming from a small town environment, like you said, resources were limited. How did you get into that mindset or get into that place you want to go to college and further your education?
We had teachers that they showed their concern for your uplifting. they showed one teacher in particular, I recall, Mrs. Harris, my fourth grade teacher.
Okay, all right.
And we as kids viewed teachers as the enemy. And I remember if you made a mistake, she would tell you, and she'd hug your neck and say, it's not the end of the world. You'll do better next time.
Wow.
And that ingrained in us.
You would do better next time.
Yes.
Yes.
And it wasn't like she looked down on you. She didn't treat it as a mistake. She just treated it as an error caused by you not knowing.
It was a learning point.
Right. If you could take that and transfer it into a positive, then she was satisfied.
She was satisfied.
Yeah. And if you made an error when she hugged your neck and said, you'll do better next time, that was worse than a whipping. Because you put something on your mind.
Yeah. And that touch and that feeling contact, it was genuine. And you know, she really cared for the outcome of the situation or the circumstance. Wow, man.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then I had a ninth grade teacher.
Yeah.
Her name was Mrs. Carrie Williams. Now we interpreted everything she did as being mean-spirited.
Right.
I found out later in life, especially after I got to college.
Right.
Every time you would hurry up and finish an assignment, she would give you something not even in the curriculum. Right. We had to go to the library, research stuff and all. But when I got to college, I found out why she did it. Right. She probably saw further down the road than we did.
She saw potential.
Yes, but I had no idea of going to college or whatever. But the group of guys that I was hanging out with today, they would call them gangs. Then they call them friends.
Yeah.
You know, and so they had we fed off each other about what we wanted to do, and we basically all of us were under the radar financially,
right?
And also the same doctor, Dr. Peavy, that delivered me was the same doctor that filled out my physical to go to Alabama A&M.
Wow!
And I was supposed to be going to the field to work with your grandfather.
Andrew
Johnson, that lived out on Highway 21.
Yeah.
Okay, but I didn't go that day because I wanted to get the physical papers filled out to go to Alabama A&M. I went down to Dr. Peavy, who had an office around from the post office trying to upstairs, went up, and the physical went like this. How do you feel? I said, I feel fine. How did you feel yesterday? He was steady filling out.
You're right.
How do you think you'll feel tomorrow?
Yeah.
He was filling out. He said, you're trying to do something positive.
Yes.
Yes, sir. He said, well, okay. And he filled it out. He said, I'll take this round to the post office and mail it right away.
Come on.
And I said, I have to go back to the field of work.
Yeah.
And the stamp was 3 cents, but you could get the stamp and the envelope for 6 cents.
Yeah.
And he gave me a quarter and told me
to go, man.
You need to go and take this now.
Wow.
And that was just one of many blessings that not solicited by me, but it came my way anyway.
Wow. Ordained. You could say God had a plan for your life, Jeremiah 29:11. He know the thoughts that he had for a plan to bring forth an expected end.
Had to be, but at that time I was immature in my thinking.
Hey man, tell me about it. I know exactly what you're talking about. Trying to conquer the world, man. Look here, I got it going on, me and my friends, man. We ain't even thinking about none of that stuff, man. We trying to live life.
Exactly. So we left here. I had $13.
Yeah.
And we all got the bus to Huntsville.
Right.
And got up there, and there was a man, his name was Mr. Thomas Elmore.
Wow.
And it's an agricultural school.
Yeah.
And he was on a tractor. And we went out to talk to him because we didn't know what to do.
Right, yeah.
And he said, you boys look honest and everything. I'll see if I can try to get you a job.
Okay.
Or whatever. And then I know a work study program.
Right, okay.
And there were 4 of us. Billy Elmore, Charles Smith, Curtis Stakeley, and myself.
Charles Smith, he's kidding to me on my mama's side.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
All of us in class, we started first grade together. We graduated 12th grade together. We were roommates in college for 4 years, and we have never separated since then. Talked to him day before yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Come on now.
And Billy Elmo also just was up
Yeah.
in his house 2 weeks ago. We used to take vacations together.
Yeah.
We had an RV together. We went to football games together.
Wow.
Until COVID, as a matter of fact, we had 61 years
Together.
of never. I mean, after graduation, we never parted.
Wow, that's a testament there to have friends that you grew up with, and so you grew up together. You went to school together. You went to college together, and then after that, you know,
Still stayed together. We took vacations together. We knew where we would be every Christmas, every 4th of July, every second week in February. We knew we'd be in South Carolina. We knew when we'd be in Augusta, Georgia, where everybody just showed up.
Wow.
And then my brother, you know, in Texas, he would make all the room reservations and then just call us and tell us where we would be in Birmingham for the classic every last weekend in October.
Right. And
so this helped keep us grounded.
And that's the point that I thought helped to keep you grounded, because see, in life you're gonna have we need each other.
Exactly.
And so when you're going through something, and then you talk to a childhood friend or whatever, you know the background. And these people are solid. They ain't changed.
Exactly.
So if they ain't changed since high school, since college, and then through adult life, man, you can go there and pick up some valuable stuff through any difficult moment that you were going through, because they could help you through those moments, And like the doctor was saying, I think he was just giving you a mental evaluation. How do you feel today? How you feel yesterday? How you think you're gonna feel tomorrow? And so so here it is, man. Those things that brought you to this point in place as Mr. Harold Dailey, And let's go to a third question. How did you wind up employed by the Escambia County high school after you retired in 1999?
Okay. Well, the first thing is, after I graduated from college, I had I was unemployed.
Right.
Didn't apply out in Georgia, but for some maybe there was a database at that time, even though we didn't call it that then. Word of mouth was what I think. And I had
your database.
right. And so I got 3 job offers in the same day. One in Houston, Texas, one in the Virgin Islands, and one in Georgia. And my grandmother said, well, pick the one that's closer to home, because you like that more. I love that more.
Yeah, Miss Joe.
My grandmother, my mother's mother, she lived on
okay.
Street.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Oh, Claire Jones. Okay, I got you.
But when I went out there, I left here that night, going where I'd never been before. Drove all night, got out there that morning. And I stopped to ask directions. And I said, I'm looking for the principal of the school and where the school is located. And the lady said, there's the principal sitting in that swing, drinking coffee. And the school is right down the street.
Hello, welcome.
And then her husband said, go on in there and get you some breakfast. Didn't ask my name or where. And he said, you're not going to steal anything. You came all the way from Alabama. That's what he said.
You must have some, but come on now.
And then they had a large house with a big hallway down there. And he said, you can stay right here until you get on your feet.
Okay.
They just out of the clear blue.
Yeah. People help people back then. Yeah. Because we know that it was a struggle, and then let's go back. I want to talk about being a young man and what was the mental drive, or what was the thing that moved you to want to be successful in education and stuff? It was y'all had people in your family that were educated, teachers or whatever. I know you talked about.
I did. I had people in my family that were educated, but I had people outside of the family who were uneducated but had great knowledge.
Wow! Oh, come on, man! That's
you see,
that's the gold mine, people. Look here, come on now. You get your money worth today.
I remember we skipped school one day.
Yeah,
I along with several of the neighborhood boys and some cousins.
Yeah,
and we went out to shoot marbles.
Yeah,
and we cleaned off a place out in Pastor.
Yeah,
and Granny Malcolm lived next door.
Yeah,
and Granny came out. She would always feed us cookies and milk and stuff.
Yeah.
And Granny said, "You boys hungry?" We said, "Yes, ma'am." Granny had milk, cookies, cake.
Mm-hmm.
We all sat around and we were laughing and talking. Granny went outside.
Yeah.
Granny came back and she had been out there planting a switch She had 3 together, and they were plaited and long. I'm glad you boys, y'all got enough to eat. Yeah. Now I'm going to fill you with something else. I have no education. She said, education.
Yeah.
You got a chance. I looked at that school bus this morning. I didn't see none of you get on.
Ooh, come on
And
now.
all that morning, she hadn't said a thing else till we met up out there.
Wow.
And we knew better than to object. She said, all right, come in that bed. I guess we were smaller.
Yeah.
That bed looked like it was that tall. She said, I want 2 this way and 3 that way.
Yeah.
And she walked around that bed and looked like it was an hour's whipping, but I'm sure it was only 4 or 5 licks at a time for each one. And she was steady talking to us about missing that bus and missing a chance to get something up here to elevate us.
Oh,
and it
man.
stuck with me to this day.
Wow.
And so I'm like, that happened in my life for a purpose because I still remember.
Yeah. And let me add this in there. You talk about a moment that transformed your life. You know, and when I got up a little bit, I got, you know, we all make crazy decisions. And Betty Dredd brother, the Dredd boys, you know, their grandma house right over the Harris Street.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and so one day I was coming down the street and he was parked there, him and his 3 brothers, you know, they were always, but anyway, it was a car there and I couldn't get by. So I knew they was rough. So I would say, hey, get out of the way. So anyway, I saw his cousin come out. So I got out and walked up. And when I walked up to the window, I'll never forget this, just like you said. He was there, he was about half lit. He was back in his seat right there. When I walked up, he rose up out of his seat and he pointed his finger at me. He said, you can be somebody if you stop acting a fool. And that transformed my life to this day. I said, this guy sees something in me I don't even see in myself. And that's what you're saying. She saw something in you that you young guys didn't see in yourself, and it transformed your life. Wow, man, that's awesome.
And you never know where it's going to. Just like you said, you just happen to be in the road,
right,
coming down.
Yeah, but
you never know where that moment lies. You just got to live it until you meet it.
Come on, man.
You see? And so in my particular case, there were so many things that were happening to me that were sort of unexplained because when I was at Alabama A&M in college, I had a job at the Holiday Inn. Yeah. Custodian and then other little handiwork. And I had to walk 4 miles every day. Yeah. And there was a man, his name, he pot gut kind of white guy, and he had always smoked a cigar. Right, yeah. But he had a car lot. Uh-huh. And one day he just said, I see you walking by here every day. He said, what are you doing? I told him, I'm enrolled up there at the college and I'm working at Holiday Inn. And he said, well, let me sell you one of these cars right here. I told him, I said, well, you're selling them for money. If you're selling them for money, I can't buy it. And he said, well, come on around, look at on the back row back here. Yeah. Went around that way, he kept the clunkers. And he said, now this one right here, standard shift, it knocks in first gear, the transmission. Right. But when you get it in the other gears, smooth sailing. And use oil anything. Right. I said, but you still want money. And he said, I tell you what, Alabama didn't have a title law then. Yeah. He said, I tell you what, I'll let you have this car, and I'm going to give you a bill of sale. Yeah. And he wrote that bill. He said, I'll let you have this car for $150 since you're trying to be something. Right. I never spoken to that man. He had seen me, but I had never paid him any attention. Right, yeah. I'll let you have this car for $150, 1952 Ford. Right. And he said, can you pay $15 a month? And I said, I will die trying. Yeah. He wrote paid in full on the bill of sale. But and said, drive it around the corner and come back. I drove it around. Sure enough, it knocked in first gear when shift drove. Right. He said, okay, here you are. And I said, well, I noticed the gas needle was on E. I'll come back when I get paid. Yeah. And get it. Yeah. He said, go down to that service station down there and tell that boy that's pumping that gas, everybody. Yeah, right. Yeah. I remember. And I told him, he said, tell that boy to look down here. Mm-hmm. And he looked and he did like that. Fill him up. Fill me up. And I drove off and I made sure that he got that $15. And even when I got employed, I sent him the $15. every
Wow.
month. And
Every
then I wrecked the car and went right back. And he said, "This one will cost you more. You're gonna have to pay $250."
Come on, man.
A man I had never
met,
seen.
but God gave you favor.
Yeah.
Because he saw your commitment and discipline walking up and down that road 4 days a week.
He
And
was-
I tell people all the time, I said, man, you know, if you your character means a lot. It'll promote you when nothing else will. Because see, people are always looking back, trying to they see themselves in people that's trying to do something. So it's a compassion to lift you up, to bring you to the place you could do and be the best in life. And so, man, I just tell you, because see, people are looking, for people to reach out and give a hand. And so when they see that guy, man, that's awesome right there. You went back and got your second car, took care of it, and wow.
And it didn't end right there. In Georgia,
Yeah.
I used to wear everything Western.
Yeah.
And then I was a little dumb because I was spending more than I needed to on Western wear, boots and hats and stuff. So one day I was fitted and everything, and when I got my suit and everything on, the man over there, all you need now is a car to match your stuff. And there was another man standing right there. He said, I got a car you might like.
Right.
And everything. Now, I had only been in Georgia 30 days. And he said, if you will, come on around to my house and you can look at it.
Yeah.
Went around there, and the car it was in like a building, but back then you had these two big old wooden doors with holes in it with a chain and a lock on it.
Yeah. I remember.
So he said it's a 57 Chevrolet.
Oh, come on now.
And when he unlocked it and he started pulling it out, and I'm like, because I was car conscious at that time.
Right.
I said it'll probably be a 4-door sedan, one pipe, 6 of them.
Yeah.
And as he was opening the door, I saw a gold V on the trunk. Then the one pipe cars on General Motors was on the left, Ford's were on the right. And this pipe was on the right. But when he got the door all the way open, that was two-door hardtop, top of the line. And the first thing came to my mind, I can only look to be able to buy this car. And I looked, and the car had 7,000 miles on it, and still had the bubble seat, plastic stuff on
right? Yeah,
like new.
Yeah.
And he said, "You'll like the price." I said, "I'm sure I will."
Yeah.
He said, "No, man, you can have this car for $693." Now, of course, that was still a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
But it was a Saturday afternoon, and I called my principal. He said, "Slim," that's what he had called me.
Yeah. That was your nickname, Slim.
Yeah, out there, that's what they called me. He said, "Slim,
Slim.
you tell him if he bring it to the school Monday morning,
we'll get it.
He can get a ride back home." And he co-signed with me at the bank for that. These are blessings that were coming my way unsought after.
Right. Just by divine, by the divine plan of God in your life.
You see?
Yeah.
And I had to ask the man, why did you let me have this car?
Right.
He said, my son bought this car brand new. He's in the military, got killed in Vietnam.
Wow.
And every time I come home, my wife is out here in it because he had his picture with the picture of the car on the sunrise.
Right, yeah.
And she would be crying and all, and I got tired. That's why I shut the door and locked it
so she couldn't.
She couldn't, and I wanted gone. Oh, and that's what he owed, $693 when he got killed. And I just want that back. And I want this out of my life. I said, sir, you are doing me a favor. And I don't know how you consider what I'm doing a favor.
Right.
But that was a blessing.
Blessing. By divine inspiration and leadership of God. Hey, look here, man. I just want to say to the young people today, just like Mr. Dailey's talking about these interventions that came, he wasn't looking for them, but they were planted in his life. And God has the same thing planted for our youth here in Atmore and anyone that's hearing this broadcast. So some of the similar things that happened in my life, he's talking about were totally two different time frames and totally two different seasons, but the outcome is still the same. Wow. So let's go into our fourth question. What is your overall perception of the methods needed to positively influence our young people?
Okay, the best way, in my opinion, and it worked for me, is to let them know that you really have a genuine concern for their welfare.
Okay.
When they get that within their mind frame,
Right.
then they are more than likely to listen to you.
Okay.
Because they feel like you have their best interest at heart.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean that you have to approve of everything they do, but it goes back to my fourth grade teacher when it's not the end of the world. You may not be able to undo what you have done,
right,
but you can make sure you don't do it again.
Say that one again, because I think we need that. Somebody need to hear that one.
You can't undo
what you've done,
what you have done, but you don't have to do it again.
Wow.
And if you have learned that lesson, that's another step forward.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You see, like as in Jacob's ladder.
Yeah.
Hey. You see every round.
Genuine concern for the youth, reaching out, showing people that you care. You know,
and they know it.
When they know it, they accept that as part of their I guess they accept that as something that they can trust in and rely on through difficult moments and seasons in their life, because like I said, we all need somebody, and so we all need a mentor and a coach in our life. And Mr. Dailey has become a great coach and a mentor to a lot of youth here in Atmore and Bruden and all around his whole educational career. Wow, that's awesome.
And you know the strange thing about here in Atmore with me, nobody for 36 years knew what I did for a living. Because when I came back, I went to work at the shipyard, and I did not apply in Bruden for the job. But someone informed the superintendent this was during 1969 when the integration, and that I had experience working with white kids in Georgia. But I didn't. But we intermingled or whatever. But I wasn't teaching at that school. But anyway, when it came, he said, "Well, if you got experience, you know, that was the mindset back then. Then we'll do." And then the superintendent left word for me with my Aunt Joe that you talking about down on the corner. And she said, "The man wants you to come. Want you to come to Bruden and talk with him." I went up there. He said, "I got a new principal at W.S. Neal. I just hired him. Go over there, and if you and him can get along, you might have a job." I just walked over there. I was driving slow, so I walked over there, even though I was riding in the car. Because you know the times back then. But when I got over there, his name was Bernie Raines, and I just left 3 weeks ago. He's getting ready to turn 91.
Come on.
And then when he had his 90th birthday celebration at the church right beside the courthouse in Bruden, he had his daughter make sure Harold Dailey is here. If the rest of my family. And I thought that was an honor that this man still kept me in his memory after all this long time. But anyway, in 3 weeks ago at David's Catfish, class of 74. And I was honored to be invited there by the members of the class of 74. But the thing about all of it, he called the superintendent in Georgia. He said, "I have one of your teachers here." And I'm trying to figure out whether I need to hire him. And he asked who it was and said, "Harold Dailey." He said, "Well, we want him back out here." He said, "Thank you." And hung up. We shook hands, and I stayed there 30 years.
30 years. Let me ask you this, we had some questions, and you wrote down this question, and this question. I'm gonna read it to the audience, and I'm gonna ask you what made you put this on. He said, "Do you believe that each individual's life is guided by a power greater than man?" And then he said, and then we want to talk about after that. What are your thoughts about politics? Why would you? What made you write that question? A greater power or higher power?
Because I knew I was on. You were the one interviewing me, and I knew you before. You ever folded your hand to say your first prayer?
Come on now.
So I wanted to let you know that we could be on the same page, let alone in the same book, Because until I turned 18,
Yeah.
I could not miss going to church or anything, not and still live in my parents' house.
Oh man, that was mandatory back then.
It was
Yeah,
mandatory, and if you didn't go,
wow.
and I had to go to Sunday school, then church, and then they had something called BYPs in the evening. Okay, but if you didn't go that Sunday, you couldn't go nowhere the rest of the week.
That's it.
And then we had to come home and tell what we learned.
What?
You
Wow.
see? So when I have a classmate named is Thomas, but he's not the doubter.
He's not the doubter.
Yeah, and I have friends that develop confidence like Peter.
Yeah.
You know. So, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, I feel you.
So but we had to learn this stuff and we had to do it. But we were, as I said, we had to use whatever we had. It might not have been the best.
But God.
But the upbringing where everybody's mother and father in the neighborhood was everybody else's mother and father. You know.
And that rock, you like to say it was mandatory that you spent and gave God some of your time. And so if they didn't give you nothing else, they gave you enough to keep you, enough to show you that God was on your side, that you could make it, even though it was difficult, but it was fair. Exactly. And so here it is. We grew up in that small town like that, out countryside, Sunset Drive. And so here's Mr. Dailey, his family, his family members, and a lot of people that came from Atmore and came from Escambia County High School that did some great things. And so we were there at the 20th year alumni for the Escambia County High School Eagles, and they got a new book coming out. I think in this year, maybe July or wherever, talking about some of the great things that were accomplished through the students and the people that went through that school and came from Atmore. And I think that will be a good tribute to some of the things and achievements that a lot of people from Atmore done and that we didn't even know, because when Mr. Parker came for his book signing, I found out some things that a lot of people that went to Escambia County High School, the Eagles, that accomplished some great things that we didn't need to know about. But we're going to get that book and we're going to talk about those things. This is Mr. Harold Dailey. Like I say, he was born and raised here in Atmore, and he talks about this lifestyle, and he came back to Atmore. And let me tell you something. We want to just say, I'm going to give you the Bill Winston salute. So we got two more questions that we're going to wrap up the interview. What are your thoughts on politics, and what are your thoughts about Atmore, Alabama in 2024?
Okay. Let me say about the politics of this. Politics has become so bitterly ingrained in people, until the purpose of what it was all about is about to be lost.
Oh, come on.
There should be a place where you and I can disagree, without being disagreeable every time we meet about some other subject. But I don't like you because of your political leanings. Then I'm not going over there and eat breakfast with you.
Oh, come on now. Come on. Here we go.
This is the wrong way to interpret politics.
Yeah.
I can have my way of feeling about any subject, and you can have yours, and they can be different. But if we talk about it, and you have a better idea than I have, then I'm going your way.
Oh, yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Because if we are leaving here to go to Montgomery, and you say, well, I'm going up 31, and I said, well, I'm taking 65. Well, we have a common goal. Our destination is Montgomery.
Right.
The way you get there and the way I get there has nothing to do with the arrival. Just be there when it's time to be there.
Wow. Oh, man, that's awesome.
But we can have a common goal. We all want the best thing. But if you choose, that's the way politics is now. But if you choose to follow this path, then all of a sudden, your ideas don't equal to mine. All of a sudden. But we got the common goal. For the betterment of who we are supposed to serve.
We're trying to feed our family. We're trying to educate our children. We're trying to be good citizens. We're trying to make a positive impact. We're trying to, do the best that we were brought up to be.
But if you don't want to do it the way I want to do it, then the politics says, I can't deal with you. That's the wrong way to be.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
That's the wrong way to be.
Right,
because if you got a better idea, I should have enough sense to recognize that you have. Or if I have a better idea, you should be the same thing. But no, not make it personal. You see?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. because
in the end, it defeats all of us. We all in the same boat. So if the boat sink, we all sink.
that's exactly right. And you have people trying to sink the boat because they don't like the captain, but they're on board the boat.
That's crazy, man. You know, they don't like the captain, but they're trying to sink the boat
because the captain's on the boat, but you on the boat too.
Same boat.
When you sink I'm not sinking the boat if I'm on board.
That's right. Come on, man. Yeah.
That's the way life is.
That's yeah. And so much friction in people not understanding. You know, like I was reading something. He said, well, you know, when slave ship brought all the slaves across the Atlantic Ocean. He said, yeah, but we may have came over here on a separate ship, but once we arrived to the destination, like you talk about, we on the same ship. So if this ship go down, come on now, you may not understand it. You gotta look. Come on, when the ship is taking on water, it affects everybody.
Everybody.
Wow.
And a rising tide lifts all boats.
Woo! Come on now, a rising tide lifts all boats. And sometimes we got to let the tide do what it was put here to do. You don't have to do anything. Just have your boat in the water. And when the time comes, the tide will come up and lift you out, even though you may be grounded in trouble and despair and don't know where you're going, mind confused this morning. But when the tide comes, it'll lift you up to be able to float out of that current situation that you're in.
That's exactly right. Man. And I have seen, and when it comes to dealing with the kids today, each individual, you have to recognize that there are differences.
Yeah.
And it does not, punishment is not always needed for you to get the right result that you're looking for. For instance, at W.S. Neal, as far as the discipline was concerned, I have never recommended a child to be suspended.
Wow.
Because one thing about it, you can say that it might be harsh and teach the child a lesson, but it puts them out of the eyesight too. I want them right there to answer roll every morning where I put these on it.
Ooh,
you see?
Ooh, if you
but if you got him in the street, and then when he comes back from the street, you got the same problem because you have not tried to solve it. You tried to move the problem away from you.
Yeah, come on. That's good.
But still the problem is just not around you today. But it'll be back when those 3 days are up or 5 days.
Ooh, boy.
Keep him right there then.
Man, look here, boy. Y'all getting y'all money up today, man. Yeah. This is just wisdom and common sense approaches because you listen to Mr. Dailey. He have a skill set, a communication skill set, and he have a relational anointing, whatever you want to call it, to reach out to people and to bring them in to show that they have value and that he cares about where they are and what they're doing.
You just have to use. I watch a lot of Western movies and everything. And usually in a school setting, especially when they're talking about the old gang kind of stuff or groups or whatever, Western movies taught me a lesson. If you are trying to stop a stampede, don't worry about turning in the herd. Get the lead cow.
You get the lead cow there.
Because that's who they're running behind.
Oh, anyway. Come on now. Come on.
If you get the lead cow,
the whole herd
is going to follow them.
Oh, come on.
And if you ever going down the highway, you see a big pasture full of cows. If they are all grazing, you'll notice they're going to be turning the same way.
Wow.
Because in that herd, we don't know who it is, but there's a leader.
There's a leader.
That's right. And unless they're lying down in the shade or whatever, if they're all up going, if it's 100 guys, at least above 90 of them are hit the same direction. Because they know the leader. And nobody got killed saying, elect me, head move. You see? No cars fighting another because you bit my blade of grass.
Oh, come on now.
They're the human.
Yeah, that's right. They come grass is for everybody. Come on now.
Everybody got their head down, everybody agrees. He's not mad because you bit before I got here.
Right,
You chomped on my grass.
Oh, come on, man. Awesome. Boy.
You got cows, you got the Herefords, you got all of them out there eating together.
Yeah.
No cows, look, get away from me. You got a black spot.
I don't like that.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You got horns and I don't have.
Yeah.
Don't hook me. Don't go over here.
Yeah.
Because they got horns.
Boy, come on.
You don't ever see cows standing doing that.
Oh man, come on, because they're focused on the thing at hand, the grass.
That's
You
right.
know, bring it up, and so yeah, nurturing their young, doing the things that needed to survive because they need each other.
Exactly. In human beings, I mean, that's supposed to be the most intelligent being on earth, the human being.
Right.
Okay, but when you walk in the woods, if you get near, we're walking in the woods, and a bird comes down, hit you on the shoulder, hit you on the head, whatever, that means you've gotten close to that bird's nest.
Right, yeah.
The bird might have eggs in the nest, or maybe have small chicks.
Right.
The bird, weighing less than a pound,
right,
will tackle you,
yeah,
weighing 175, 200,
yeah,
to save
his babies, her baby.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, a human being will abandon a child on the doorstep with somebody he's never seen before. But you call that same human being, you a bird brain, he ready to fight you. But a bird will attack.
Yeah, to protect his young. Natural instinct, and then I guess we have a choice on choosing, you know. And so and I tell people, I said, sometimes, you know, your core belief is in what you know, you don't even know your core belief because it's in your subconscious. And so here it is, things that we're brought up to be offended about. Sometimes we just got to say, hey, man, it ain't even worth it. Because sometimes the biggest man or the better man will say, hey, walk away. I'm not even going that way where difficulty and trouble is, because why? My mind is telling me I'm successful, but you know, we still can graze and respect each other and go about life, you know, and live this life because we only have one. Let's live it to the best that we can and stop being so opinionated about people, because at the end of the day, I was telling somebody, I said, whoever is the captain of the boat, if you don't captain this ship, this space between these 2 years here, your life ain't gonna change nowhere. Because why? If you were doing what you were doing 10 years ago and you do it for the next 4 years, regardless who the captain of the ship is, well, your life is gonna be the same. Because see, the captain didn't change your ship. You know, I gotta change my ship. I choose to make choices on what I want to do. So if I don't change, my mindset hadn't changed, my thought life and my personality hadn't changed. That means, come on now, I'm getting the same results I got the last 10 years because why? I hadn't changed. And so when we come to a place of change in life, it changes our purpose and destiny so we can succeed and show our youth how to succeed. And that's what you've done. You showed us how to succeed. You show us how to stand up, you know, and be who you are. Because ever since I know you and Dad and you've been friends for a long time, you have always been the same. You have always been the same, man. And I just want to thank you and honor you for that, because while you've always treated me well, our family, we grew up together, you have always been the same. Let's ask this last question. Yeah. What are your thoughts about Atmore, Alabama 2024?
Okay, right here in Atmore right now is, I think your terminology as a minister would be, it's called a leap of faith.
Yeah.
The people of Atmore, and we do have some people who really believe in Atmore.
Right.
In Atmore itself, the city itself, okay, this is like you. Real estate and house, that's the city itself. But it's the people that make up the city.
Right.
And until you have an outreach, just walking by, never speaking, I have some white people that I have known all my life, and we have never shown any type of disparity against each other.
Yeah.
And to me, I would treat them as well as they treated me. See, it's a reciprocity kind of thing.
Right.
And I if I live to be 100, well, let me give me a little bit more time now since I'm almost there. If I live to be 200, I hope to never wake up any morning and find hatred in my heart toward another human being.
All right, come on, that's good.
You know, it had to be instilled in me, because I have seen. You never know until you reach out.
Right.
Until you reach out. And what made, I think, a part of what made me effective with dealing with the younger kids. Yeah. Every time I had to deal with one as far as discipline was concerned, I saw me in her or him.
Oh man,
I saw me, and I'm thinking, come on. If I was in the same situation.
What would
Would I want somebody to please say something to just lessen my burden? And that's the way I dealt with each one of them.
Wow.
Now, sometimes the kids all say I was aggravating because they'll tell me, I said, well, when will your mother and father be home? They work 3 to 11. They don't get home till 12:30. I said, oh my God, that's so bad that night about 1 o'clock. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Mr. Dailey.
And most of them say, we just do what you said because you just aggravate. and then you got to make each one think that they're special to you. Like, for instance, right here in my clipboard.
Yeah.
Okay. I keep it well sealed. But anyway,
you clip
I go down to the park sometimes.
Yeah.
They've got 40 or 50 playing ball. I go down there, drive up, they know my vehicle. They stop dribbling the ball. Look, put the ball. I start. Now you understand at school, I've already said I'll be checking on you.
Yeah.
So
Gotta see your name on the
yeah,
That's a wisdom, people.
look.
Yeah.
And then after maybe a couple of minutes, I don't see them. And then I'm done. But they know I do follow through when I talk to them at school.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's it.
And it's a man thing, but you got to make, and then they interpret it. He cares because he's coming behind, whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's all, man. That's awesome. People, it's been a great interview. We have had several people on there, and so we had several people that's been on here. Sherry, man, I tell you, we had some people that's here that made some great comments, and we want to thank you for your comments. We want to thank you for being a part of the interview today, and we just want to thank Mr. Dailey for giving me this opportunity. And I'll just have last words, Mr. Dailey. We'll conclude our interview today.
As far as the city of Atmore is concerned, I don't speak with any position of authority, but I want you to remember the words Atmore, and remember this: you are at more when you're in Atmore.
Come on now. You're in. Yeah. Come on now. You're in Atmore.
You're at more when you're in
Atmore. And then another lady told me that she was over here. He said, "In Atmore, you get more."
Yeah. They got. It's a guy that was trying to tell me from Atlanta.
Yeah.
He was telling me how much he's making in Atlanta, and they don't call it the ATL for nothing.
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't know about the ATL. I said, I'm from the ATM.
ATL. The ATL. Oh Lord. People, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dailey, for the interview. And God bless you. And thank you for joining.
And it's always a pleasure, and I'm glad that I had this opportunity to even talk with you or whatever.
Yes, sir. And, thank you. God bless you.
And
all right.
And he has. I just hope he continues.